Okay, there's been a lot of talk about the Department of Education and what Trump is doing to dismantle the Department of Education. And even though from the outside, many of us are cheering this move, thought it should have happened a long time ago, there is a lot of thoughts and questions surrounding this. Some people think, hey, right, this is not something he should do. It's going to be bad for education. There's a lot of irony, people that are panicking over this is going to mess up education, as if education was really good right now. When from the Department of Education's own data, it's roughly 19% of graduating seniors that are functional illiterate, cannot read or write. And so when President Trump says we should dismantle this thing, give education back to the states.
Another thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it.
Constitutionally speaking, that's correct. In the Constitution, there's no mention of education. And actually, in the 10th Amendment, it says that anything not explicitly given to the federal government in the Constitution belongs to the states. So constitutionally speaking, education should belong to the states, but it's worth noting there's a lot of people that think if we abolish the Department of Education, right, bring education back to the states, then we will solve the educational problem. And I would counter and contend, I don't think that's going to be the solution. A lot of people think it might. It's definitely a good decision and it should be done. But a lot of our fundamental problems are much deeper than that. And we can get into a lot of the influence and impact of the progressives, what they did to impact and change education, the pedagogy, how it's so much different today than it used to be back then. But let me just highlight one of the major differences. The founding fathers, as they are developing the nation, as they write the Constitution, one of the things they do is the Northwest Ordinance. And the Northwest Ordinance, this is where they set up all the standards, kind of the boundaries, parameters. If any territory wants to join, and territories ultimately become states, there are certain requirements they had to meet. And of those requirements in Article 3, it says that every student had to learn religion, morality, and knowledge. And so every territory had to have schools, and those schools taught religion, morality, and knowledge. This is one of the big differences from modern education. We don't emphasize religion and morality the way we used to. And I think it's part of why we're seeing such a significant change in the outcome of education. And let me just give a few ideas. The idea from the founding fathers, why does it matter we teach religions? Because you need to know there is a God. And you need to know that our rights come from God. They don't come from some government leaders. They don't come from some king. They don't come from parliament, right? They don't come from Congress. Our rights come from God, and actually, it's through religion that we learn the morals, that we're supposed to love God and love people, treat other people the way you want to be treated, that we don't murder, we don't steal, all these things, right? The basic foundations of morals, they come through religion, and ultimately we learn morality through religion. This is why it was a building block. It's religion, morality, and knowledge. And what we have tried to do in modern education is emphasize and promote knowledge more than almost anything else. And when you try to teach knowledge without religion and morality, not only does it not work well because you have students that don't have discipline. If you talk to most public school teachers today, they'll tell you their biggest problem is classroom management and classroom discipline. They have kids who don't want to be there, who don't care about what's going on, who aren't motivated. I mean, you can go down this long list of problems that teachers face. If there was religious and moral instruction, it could help lay a foundation that allows knowledge to be taught and be successful in the teaching of knowledge. And we'd see academic standards go absolutely on the rise because we restored that foundation that allows them to work. Religion, morality, and knowledge. The founding fathers did this very intentionally and strategically, and also it's why in their writings they're so prevalent about speaking to religion and morality. George Washington, in his farewell address, he said that the pillars of prosperity in America, they're religion and morality. Those are the indispensable pillars of prosperity. John Adams then writes a letter to the militia of Massachusetts, and he says that our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. The founding fathers always believed in religion and morality. And as we're looking at the opportunity for education to come back to these states, if we don't restore the basic notion in kids that there is a creator and our rights come from him, and that there is a moral code that we should learn to live by, then bringing education back to the states won't have the desired impact and results that a lot of people are looking for. What we need to do is not just bring education back to the states, but restore the early philosophy and the building blocks that helped us be so successful academically: religion, morality, and knowledge.